Another thing you want to do with your students, particularly when it comes to exams, is to teach them how to break down the exam question so that they actually can work out what the exam question is asking them to do. And so we're going to bring up a question right here that's from a past paper, and we're going to go through it together. So the first thing I get them to do is identify the verb. This is an explain. Okay. I then get them to identify the syllabus terms, so physiological adaptations. It's out of the syllabus, and so are the principles of training. In fact, they are both dot points in the syllabus. I then want them to identify whether or not it develops in response to, okay, so this is your connection. So I've got my verb, my syllabus, and then this is basically showing me what it's asking me to do. So explain how it develops in response to. So that's the cause and effect, right? So my principles of training and the physiological adaptations are connected. One's the cause, one's the effect. So explain means relate cause and effect. The principles of training are the cause, and the physiological adaptations are then the effect. I need to make sure that my students know that they have to explain how the physiological adaptations develop based on the principles of training being applied. Next, I'll have them actually dot out what each of these things are from the syllabus. So the principles of training are progressive overload, specificity, reversibility, variety, training thresholds, warm-up and cool-down. The physiological adaptations, your resting heart rate, stroke volume, etc. These are just the dash points listed straight out of the syllabus. So they're listing those for me around the question. It says use examples, always important. And I constantly want to keep doing this with my students. I don't care if it's a 3-mark question, put an example in. I know that they don't need it technically for a 3-mark question, but I want them to get into that habit of no matter what mark the question is worth, they're putting in examples that they're using to show what they're saying. It needs to be used in a way to prove what they're saying is true. Okay, it's not just about putting in an example for the sake of an example, it's using the example in a way that proves what they're saying is true. And that's really important. And finally, this is an 8-mark question. It's important to note this. You get 1.8 minutes in the exam per mark. And so this is essentially a 14-minute question, and it's asking you to write 1 to 2 pages worth of content. Now, if you write really big, maybe you're going to write 3 pages, but we're looking at a fair bit of content. You should be able to write, teach your students to write, practice writing. Don't have them on computers all the time. They're going to get to the exam, they're going to cramp up, they're not going to be able to answer it. So give them time in class, frequently practicing using their hand to write long extended response questions. Give them 15 minutes, 8-mark question, smash it out, and then go through things at the end.